Hey, family. Welcome to day 18 of the Bounce Beyond Limit series. If you've been joining me from the beginning, which I think we started on the 1st of May, I want to say thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for joining every day. And if you have been listening to the replay, that's okay. I want to say thank you also for taking time to scroll by my pages and listen to the replay. I'm happy you made it here. And I want to say that if you are tuning in right now, I want you to just take a deep breath and know that you made it here for a reason. So we're not just, building brands. We are not just chasing sales or social media clout. What we are doing is that we are faith-filled entrepreneurs showing up with intention. So if you are here with me, it shows me that you are an intentional person and you're here today, to have a nice chat with me. And this is actually a place that you can call your safe place. So thank you so much for joining. And so today we're talking about how you can protect your peace without losing your light and how to also handle difficult people in business without compromising your grace. So if you're ready to reclaim your power and you are listening to me right now or you are listening to the replay, please drop a yes in the chat and say, I choose peace. So if you're listening to me right now and you're somebody who says, well, I'm ready to reclaim my power, like I am tired of losing my peace over my business or over whatever it is that I am doing. I just want you to take a deep breath, know that you are in a safe place, and just drop a yes or an emoji in the chat and just say, I choose peace. So let's talk about boundaries. Let's talk about grace. So on Sundays, I call Sundays our soulful Sundays because we talk about things that are very, dear to the heart. And we talk about things that could actually help build your faith as a faith-based entrepreneur. And we want to talk about boundaries. We want to talk about grace. We want to talk about how you can handle difficult people in your business without compromising your grace. So let me be real with you tonight, family. There was a season in my life and in my business where I thought, being available to everybody meant that I was being valuable. And I said yes to many things just because I wanted to keep my peace, even when my spirit was screaming no. There was a time I poured so much into people who never once clapped, even when I won. There were clients that would cross the line, team members that would drain me, and supporters who would only show up when they needed something. So have you ever been in that situation where you were working with people and they genuinely don't care about how you feel? They just want to keep getting from you and draining you and all of that. So we want to talk about how you can deal with people like that today. So, like, I was at that point in my life where I would just, be available for people, whether it was convenient or not. And I thought that that made me valuable, but I suddenly realized that it wasn't so actually. I just found out eventually that it was draining me and I needed to do something about it. Initially, I stayed that long trying to be available for them. I accommodated all sorts of things because I thought that being nice was the Christ like thing to do. But here's the truth that God had to reveal to me: being Christ like does not mean that you are boundaryless. It doesn't mean that you don't have boundaries. Jesus had compassion, but he also had clarity. He withdrew from the crowd and he said no when he had to say no. He also walked away when it was time. But for me, I think I had to learn that lesson the hard way. So if you are listening to me right now and you are following whatever it is I'm saying, I want to ask a question. Have you ever tolerated someone too long just in the name of peace? If so, I want you to drop an emoji in the comments if you've ever had to learn how to create your boundaries the hard way. Listen, many people think that when you are nice, you are being wise. But I want to say something differently today. Being nice is not the same thing as being wise. And what is the purpose of, trying to make other people happy at the expense of your own peace? For me, I feel like that is way too expensive. You want to be available for people, you want to meet the needs of family and friends, you want to be there for business partners, but it is costing you so much peace. It is actually costing you your well being. I had to learn that the hard way. But the good news is this: it is possible for you to be kind, but still be very clear about what you want and what you stand for. You can show grace to people, but you can still guard your own garden. Your heart is like a garden, right? And so there is no point trying to show grace to people, extend so much love to people. You want to be there for them, but you are not guarding your heart. You can build a business and still protect your soul. Now, because you're not just the CEO of your business, you're also a child of God. And tonight, we want to be able to learn how to reclaim our boundaries with boldness and grace. For those that are just joining, I just wanted to say that this is our Soulful Sunday, and it's day 18 of the Bounce Beyond Limit series. And if you've not subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please go ahead and do that. If you're not following me on Facebook, please go ahead and follow me on Facebook and on TikTok as well as Instagram. Now, let's talk about what God really says about boundaries, right? Because you know that I don't do business without the word of God. I don't do business without the word. So if we're going to talk about boundaries, it's important that we really know what God is saying about that. Because contrary to what some folks believe, boundaries are not anti-love. That is, it doesn't mean that you don't love people. Boundaries are divine wisdom. They are biblical and they are necessary. Because even the word of God tells us in Proverbs 4:23 that above all else, we should guard our hearts because everything you do actually flows from it. And this is not just about relationships. We're talking about, business, clients, people that come to your DMs, people that send you messages on WhatsApp when you wake up in the morning, you're already seeing messages from them. And even those that come to you all the time saying, "Can I pick your brain?" God is literally telling you, protect your peace, guard your energy, cover your soul. Because most times we think that because we are available to people, it shows that we are nice. But it's okay to be nice. But the question is it costing you your peace? It is okay to be nice, but you also need to apply wisdom to your niceness. That is what a lot of people fail to understand, and they get burnt out, they get irritable, they feel like they are doing too much. Jesus himself often withdrew to lonely places and he prayed. Even Jesus, the Messiah, the miracle worker, the master teacher, stepped away. He had boundaries with the crowd. He had boundaries with his time. He also said no so he could say yes to his real assignment. So take a pause and just think about it. What do you really need to say no to so that you can fulfill your own real assignment? Your assignment does not mean that you are supposed to meet the needs of everybody in the world because you are actually not the El Shaddai. That is it. You need to learn to say no so that you can fulfill God's purpose for your life and so that you can be effective in whatever it is that you are doing. That is it. That is just it. There are some people you don't even need to entertain twice. There are people that come to you, they do stuff that are unpleasant to you. It's okay to forgive them. You should forgive, but don't reinvite the chaos they have caused in your life. It is not about being, somebody slaps you once and then you turn the other cheek for them to slap you again. Is it not costing you your peace? Because you are trying to give people that impression that you are a child of God and that you want to do your business legitimately, which is great. How much of your peace is it taking from you? Are you applying wisdom? Is it just about doing business? What about being effective at what you do? Because if you don't have boundaries, it's going to be really hard to stay effective. That is the simple truth. It's going to be really hard. So I want you to type in the chat box. If you are listening to me, say it again with your chest. Say, my grace has boundaries. It is good to extend grace to people because you can love people, you can serve people, you can even pray for them, but still not let them cross the lines that protect your purpose. You have a purpose to fulfill. But when you start allowing people cross the lines that protect your purpose, you find that you're hurting. And because you're hurting, some of us keep that hurt in our hearts for such a long time, and then one day there'll be an outburst. So tonight, we're not just talking about business alone. We're talking about biblical alignment because we want to choose peace without feeling guilty. And we are learning to build in a way that would honor God and also guard our souls. And that is what we want to really talk about today. So if you are listening to me and you run a digital business, I want to share with you, 3 boundaries that every digital CEO must set. So a business owner, a digital coach, or a mentor, I want to just talk about those 3 boundaries that you want to set because I want to be practical. Because you've prayed, you've worshipped, you have a goal, you've written out your plan, and all of those things. Because if you are purpose driven, you must set those boundaries. Whether you are new or you are just scaling, These boundaries are going to help you save your peace. It's going to help you maintain your brand and your sanity. So let's talk about them. The first one is your emotional boundary. This is about how much access people have to you, to your emotions. The truth is that people are going to come to you complain at every point in time. You're going to have people complain about different things, complain about not being satisfied sometimes with services, which is okay because you want to make sure that you are more effective and provide support to them. Even after you've done that, some people are going to come complaining to you. But then, just because somebody complains to you does not mean that every complaint is your concern. Every DM does not even deserve a response. Sometimes we feel like there's this compulsion to respond to every DM that comes your way immediately. And just because somebody is loud does not mean that they are right. So I want you to say after me, if you are listening to me, say this, say, I can care without carrying it all. I can care without carrying it all. You can pray for people, you can love them and still not internalize their energy, right? People are complaining, that's fine. But is every complaint really your concern? Is every DM worth you responding to right away? Somebody is shouting and yelling a lot. Doesn't mean that they are right. The most important part is you are supposed to fulfill your obligation to them as discussed. But you are not supposed to carry the weight of everybody on your shoulders. So you need to manage how much access people have to your emotions. I'm not talking about what emotional boundaries. So let's talk about time boundaries. If you're listening to me and you're a sister, I want to tell you something. Your calendar is a ministry. You don't have to jump on every call or respond to every text or to be online 24/7 for everybody. That's why you have a calendar. And it's a ministry if you don't know. You have to learn to set your work hours, honor your rest. Don't let people guilt trip you into being burnt out. You have the permission to say, well, God did not call me to be available, but He called me to be what? Effective. Because if you're available and you are burnt out and you are irritable, are you effective? I think this is something that is worth talking about. It is actually real talk. And that's why I call it Soulful Sundays, because we're talking about things that are real and things that can change your life and help you build a faith-filled business that is not just thriving, but keeps you at peace. That is it. So you have the permission to say, God did not call you just to be available, but He called you to be what? Effective. And then I want to talk about spiritual boundaries. Many of us are so much used to going after every shiny object. You see this opportunity, you jump at it. You see that opportunity, jump at it, even when you are supposed to be focused on what you are doing and even build it and see results. So I want to let you know something. Not every opportunity is a God-sent one. Not every collaboration is a covenant relationship. Some doors may actually look divine, but they come with what? Spiritual distractions. Yes, I know you want to collaborate with friends. You want to show them that you are supportive of their business. They call it sisters helping sisters, right? Women helping women. But that is fine, or brothers helping brothers. But then, have you evaluated that opportunity to determine if it is God sent? Have you evaluated it to see if it is what would help you fulfill purpose? Is that collaboration even necessary at all? Does this partnership pull me towards God, or is it going to drain my spirit? Does this opportunity make me compromise my values? Now, these are questions you have to ask yourself, and that is why you need what they call discernment. Discernment is your divine filter. It helps you know which is which and which is not. So you have to set spiritual boundaries. So we've talked about emotional boundaries, managing how much access people have to your emotions. We've talked about time boundaries, that your calendar is a ministry for you. It is. And then we've just talked about what? Spiritual boundaries, because not every opportunity is God sent. So if you are listening to me, I have a question for you. Which of these three boundaries do you need to reinforce this week? Please go ahead and just drop it in the chat box. Which of these boundaries do you need to reinforce this week? Is it emotional boundaries? Is it time or spiritual boundaries? I'd like to hear from you. Whether you are coming back to do the replay or you are listening to me live right now, I would like to know which of these boundaries would you need to reinforce this week? You don't have to say yes to everybody. You have to listen to your soul. You have to listen because your soul is not a sacrifice. And your peace is not optional either. And you have purpose to fulfill. And that purpose is too sacred to be shared with just anybody. And that is just what it is. Now, we're going to go ahead and talk about difficult people and how to handle them. There are people who actually test our boundaries the most. I remember today in church, it was so funny because we're talking about how faith goes to work and how, to manage difficult people. And it just struck a chord. I'm like, well, this is something great that I like to share with people today on my Soulful Sunday. And the funny part is that we all have our level of difficulty in terms of our behavior. We are difficult in one way or the other. So this is not the time for you to start pointing accusing fingers at somebody and say, well, she's difficult, it's difficult. You're also difficult anyways, in your own way. But let's talk about those that are difficult that we see on a day-to-day basis and we manage in our businesses or in our, maybe career. We're talking about the drainers, the manipulators, the I don't hear your no people. So I want us to break down these three different types of people that we meet in business and how to handle them with grace and strategy. Because if you are going to be very effective at what you do, you have to create space for people like that in the sense that you have to manage them. You're not going to live as an island. And that is just what it is. So let's talk about those that are manipulators. And if you're one, it's okay. There's grace for you to improve. Manipulators are people who use guilt to get what they want. They're going to tell you all sorts of things just to get at you. It might even be a spouse. It might be a child. It could be a sibling, a family member. It could be a business partner. They'll say things like, wow, well, I did not expect that from you. Oh, so you mean you're now too busy for me, right? So then this is not the time for you to feel, upset with people like that. You would have to learn to handle them. Oh, for a very long time, it was very difficult for me to handle people like that. It would really irritate me, but people grow and you have to grow. You can't be a leader and not grow because you're going to have to take a lot of, unpleasant things. And then most importantly, you're going to have to learn how to handle them. You can respond to them without reacting. You can use, neutral phrases like, well, thank you for sharing that. I'll get back to you when I can. You don't owe anybody immediate emotional access. So don't let anybody, use guilt to make you feel bad. You have to learn to handle them. If it's not convenient for you, it's not convenient for you. And you know that when you have little kids, they know how to manipulate you. And then are you going to chase your little kids away? Of course not. They're going to say different things. Well, mom, you promised that you're going to do this for me. Why did you just change your mind? But mom, you said this, you said that. Of course, it is possible that you promised them something, but there has to be a right timing for when they get that something. And when it comes to business as well, there has to be a right timing for when you can give people emotional access to you. That is it. Or any kind of access, pretty much. Right? So we've talked about the manipulators. Let us talk about the energy drainers. Oh my goodness, I met so many of them. They are always in crisis mode, always complaining, never growing. They're still on the same spot. Somehow, every conversation leaves you exhausted. And the truth is that there are certain scenarios or situations in your life that would make you feel needy. I've been there before. But then you cannot be in that situation forever. If you find that you're always whining, you're complaining about stuff, you're not going to grow because it's going to make you feel stuck in one corner. People like that leave you exhausted after every conversation. So how do you handle them? Well, I'll be honest with you, you have to limit access because you need to protect your own peace. You need to set timers for them stylishly. You set boundaries like, well, I just have 15 minutes and then I need to jump off. Or let's just focus on solutions today. How do we get you out of this challenge? Have you tried this? Remember that you're not a savior, you're just a steward of peace. So when people come with you, they come to you with all sorts of challenges, you also have your challenge, which is understandable, but you want to be a steward of peace. You're not a savior. You want to focus more on solution-driven conversations versus, just whining, helping the person to buttress the pain, because some of us know how to sympathize. So you're going to be asking yourself, am I more like a sympathizer, or I am somebody who is actually providing solution to this person's challenge? And you can only do your best anyways. You're just going to do your best. That's what it is, right? So you would have to handle them by limiting access, protecting your peace, setting boundaries that are necessary. Whenever I find that I'm in a scenario that keeps me really stressed and I find that I'm complaining, what I do is I I accept help from people, but I'm somebody who would prefer that I'm not a burden to anybody. And then when I find that, I read body languages a lot. And so when I find that accessing you or probably talking to you, it would probably make me get into that needy scenario. I just would pull away. And that is because I'm protecting myself. So you may need to set, boundaries in that way that you are protecting yourself and also making sure that you're not the energy drainer. That is it. The only person that, can save the world entirely is God. You can do it for everybody. Now let's talk about those that are known as the boundary testers. These are people who act like when you tell them no, they're not happy. They feel like your no is a negotiation. For example, if you tell them, well, I'm not available this weekend, they reply, what about just this once? They are persistent. But guess what? You can still handle them. You just have to be clear. Let them know that it's not going to work for that weekend and maybe give another option. Let them know that your schedule is busy. So you have to learn to handle them by being clear, being consistent. You would say it, you could repeat it, and you can enforce it without apology. And let me tell you, there's a simple line you can use. You can just tell them, well, I've already shared my boundary on this, and it has not changed. There are people who are going to test your boundaries. Oh, let's go here. And then you tell them, not at this point. They say, well, just this once, it's not going to hurt. Yes, it's going to hurt for you because it does not meet your priorities. You have to learn to be clear. You have to learn to be consistent. And you're not being mean, right? Just enforce it politely without apology. I can still love you and still say no. I can serve God and still have standards. And that's how people should think. Because listen, boundaries don't block love, they protect alignment. They don't disconnect you from people, they reconnect you with your purpose because your purpose is what matters much more. Have you ever dealt with any of this kind of people? If you have, please just go ahead and let's chat about it. Put it in the comment box. If you've ever had to set boundaries with people who just don't want to hear you say no, please let me know your experience. Share your experience by putting it on the, chat box. Because I bet you would have met with people that are manipulators, energy drainers, or boundary testers somewhere along the line. So it is possible to actually say no to people. And that does not mean that you don't love them. You can't serve God and not have standards. You need to have standards. Everything must not be a yes thing for you. Everything does not just go. Some people just say, this person is an anything go person. You can't be an anything goes person. That's the truth. You have to have standards. So if you are still with me, I just want you to take a moment to just breathe. Just, breathe. You've been building, you've been managing, you've been showing up for everybody. But tonight, I want you to just turn inward. I want you to do a soul check. Ask yourself these questions, because nobody's going to be as sincere, nobody's going to be that sincere with you like you would, be sincere to yourself. So you can ask yourself that question. Where have I been overgiving just to keep the peace? Many of us keep giving and giving. We keep saying, it's okay, just so that you can have peace. But are you really happy about that? Is this person not draining you? Is this person a boundary tester? Is this person a manipulator? Is this person an energy drainer? These are things you have to ask yourself. Another question is, who have I allowed to stay in my space too long just because I did not want to seem mean? That is another question for the day and something that you can think about all week. There are people that have stayed in our space too long that should have been gone a long time ago. I mean, a long time ago. But because you don't want to be tagged as being mean, don't want people to think that you are overbearing, you let them stay. But guess what? They hurt you. I've been there before and it hurt so badly. It cost me a lot. Another thing to ask yourself is this: have I been sacrificing my purpose just to avoid conflict? Listen, your purpose is important to you much more than you trying to, keep some friends that don't need to be there. Because you cannot heal what you won't acknowledge. That's the truth. You cannot even rise if you're always shrinking to make other people comfortable. Every time you're trying to shrink, you are moving your standards, you are shifting your ground because you want to make other people comfortable. But is that really going to make you happy? Is that not going to make you feel even more drained than you found yourself? These are things you would have to think about and see if it works for you. That is just it. You cannot rise if you're always shrinking to make others comfortable. If there's anything you've learned from whatever it is I'm saying today, please mark this. There is no way you're going to rise if you're always shrinking because you want to make the next person happy all the time. So I just want to remind us of a few things today. Your purpose is holy, your energy is valuable, and your peace is a proof of alignment. If you lack peace, it means that there is some misalignment in your life, and that is going to alter your purpose. It's going to alter your ability to stay effective. So if you are feeling it, whatever it's that I'm saying, I want you to drop it in the comment and say, I choose peace over pressure. I choose my soul over stress. I'll go again. I choose peace over pressure, and I choose my soul over stress. So it's time for you to breathe in peace. Breathe out the pressure. Some of us are carrying so much pressure in our hearts that it's beginning to hurt. It is beginning to make us feel so uncomfortable. It is beginning to make us snap. It is beginning to even make us age. Because guess what? A merry heart will do good like medicine. But your bones will get dried up when you're not happy. That's the truth. You cannot actually give what you don't have. If you are filled with so much bitterness, filled with unhappiness, filled with pressure, and you don't do something about it, you are going to find yourself being a shadow of yourself in no time. And so I want to just, wrap up by letting you know today, you are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to protect your space. You are also allowed to thrive without apologizing for it. You don't owe anybody the explanation that you want to thrive. You don't owe anybody the explanation that you want to protect your space. Because I keep mentioning what Jesus did. Jesus himself walked away from some crowds. He walked away when he had to walk away. And you have to learn to walk away when you need to walk away. You might be faced with certain challenges and you want to stick your neck there and say, well, I must fight this battle to finish. But guess what? It's not every battle you want to stick your neck into. Your peace is important to you. Your peace matters a lot to you because that's the only way you're going to stay effective, and that's the only way you can fulfill purpose. That's it. So I just want us to wrap, tonight up with just praying. If you can close your eyes, place your hand over your heart and just say this, just say, Father, just grant me peace, wisdom, and boldness to set boundaries when I need to. Help me protect my purpose with grace. Help me to walk in clarity and give me the grace to honor you in every decision I take in Jesus' name. And if you said this prayer, I bet it's going to make you feel different. And if this blessed you at all tonight, I want you to drop a yes in the comments. And if you're a woman of faith building a business and you're tired of doing it alone, I invite you to connect with me. Let's talk about how you can grow a business with peace, alignment, and profits. Because in this space, we don't just hustle. We heal, we honor God, and we build with grace. I love you all, and I wish you a restful night and a beautiful week ahead. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll be here again tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time for day 19 of the Bounce Beyond Limit series. Thank you so much for your support, and we'll be in touch.